Welcome back to day 3 and 4 of my Paris vlogs. Today is Saturday and we were going to meet up with the rest of the handbag tribe at the Eiffel Tower for lunch, but decided to enjoy walking around the area a little bit and found a wonderful little cafe. Blake had some hot chocolate and a croissant. I had a cappuccino and then a delicious eclair that you were about to see. This had warm chocolate sauce on it. It had delicious homemade whipped cream. It was so good, clean to my plate. And then, like I said, we just walked around the area and really just enjoyed the architecture. And then when it was time to meet up with everyone, stopped at a random little boulangerie to get our sandwiches as well as a creme brulee for lunch. We were the first ones to arrive at the tower, so we found a nice spot under a shaded tree, and Blake had packed some foldable blankets so that we wouldn't all have to sit directly on the ground. You can see Steph, Leslie, Deb, Nick, Lisa, Hannah and Ian. You can see Gwynny and Claire and the Lion and Blake, and we just had a really great time visiting and enjoying lunch.
We miss you, Meredith!
All right.
Blake and I had gone this morning to get the poster board that you see here, and we had quite a few friends who had birthdays while we were in Paris, so we made use of the other side of the poster board to post some happy birthday messages to our SA Sam, to several of our friends who you'll see on here, Coleman and Austin. And then we also had a special friend who was having a birthday right after our trip, which is Amelia from Amelia Rose's Closet. And then the group walked on to Dior because we had tickets to the Dior Museum. And Blake went off to do his own thing, which I'll tell you about in a minute. But I loved all the different colored miniature versions of the dresses. I loved seeing the actual historic dresses and pieces, the original Dior silhouette that had the nipped in waist and the over exaggerated hips, and the detailing on some of these pieces was just absolutely incredible. I tried to zoom in on the detail of some of my favorites. And one of the things that was really interesting to me about the Dior Museum is that they mixed together all the different designers. So it wasn't that you were just going through a progression of time, but you really got to see everyone's style side by side. But at the same time, it was still very clear who was a Raft design, what was a Maria design, what was a Saint Laurent design. And so seeing all those pieces together throughout history, seeing on how Dior has remained Dior no matter who is at the creative director helm, was just really special in my opinion. I did love this rug under Christian Dior's desk. It's very similar to a lot of rugs in my house, my mother's house, my mother-in-law's house. And like I said, we just got to really appreciate design and fashion. There were also some interesting and weird pieces, like these ballet wedges. I think that if you are anyone who loves fashion, whether you're a Dior fan or not, going and seeing these beautiful creations and pieces is well worth the time and the 16 euros to go in. This particular green dress was actually Dior by Christian Dior. And then towards the end of the exhibit, you walk into this incredible room with all of these show-stopping design pieces and glittering backdrops that they have. And it was just so incredible. I mean, the pieces that they had here down low for you to see were truly works of art. And the backdrops actually change, and so you get to appreciate these pieces in different lighting, which I thought was really neat and interesting as well. They also had some incredible other embroidered and metalwork pieces that you see there. And then they had a celebrity exhibit where they had the pieces that had been worn on the red carpet by famous people, as well as their pictures, including the navy Met Gala dress and the navy Lady Dior in the silk satin that had been worn by Princess Diana. And so to actually get to see her dress and her bag on display was really, really neat and special. And then Leslie did take a picture of me on the stairs. Leslie is definitely the group photographer. We then went next door to the museum to the 30 Montaigne Flagship store. And the store had some amazing, incredible pieces. Here I am trying on one of the bag styles that had caught my attention, potentially as a mini bag, and seeing some of the really beautiful varieties that were involved. But overall, the thing that I didn't like about this store was that it didn't feel particularly historic, and I wish that some of the original store, you could feel some of that in the current version of the boutique. They did bring us out wonderful glasses of water, and I did take my little Dior Star 30 Montaigne napkin home with me as a little personal souvenir from Dior. But they did have just so many pieces that you were able to look at in so much variety, so many different variations. If you wanted wicker, if you wanted beading, if you wanted fabric, if you wanted exotics, if you wanted just special art pieces of bags, you were definitely going to be able to find them here in the Flagship store. And they also have a cafe that is right there as well. The ready-to-wear was very wide-ranging. The classic pieces you have to ask for. They don't keep those out really on display. However, they have tons in stock in all different sizes. You can see me starting to try on the dresses here as we were trying to figure out what size dress that I was. I really liked the bright red in the classic Dior dress, but ultimately settled on trying on the black bar jacket and the black dress in my size with the black pair of the Jean Dior slingbacks. And because I was having so much fun playing dress up, Lisa also was convinced to play dress up in a bar jacket and a dress. Same way. Okay.
Go. Wow.
And they're just such beautiful pieces. That being said, because they're classic, you can definitely find them elsewhere. The sales associate helping me had a lot of fun helping me play dress up and pulled out Lady Dior bags and hats and belts. And I just got to feel like a Dior Barbie for an afternoon, which was so much fun to get to do. Although $10,000 for a dress is kind of insane. We then walked back from Dior and past the Grand Palais and the Petit Palais and other beautiful buildings as well, and just really got to enjoy a sunny day with a light breeze walking through Paris. But as we got here to the edge of the gardens, the breeze created an effect on the flags where I realized that we were actually right here at the FIA headquarters, and as big fans of Formula One, that was really exciting to me. While we were in Dior though, Blake went to the antiques market. And this antiques market in Paris is really more of an antique area, and there are all sorts of different streets and buildings and shops and collections showing all sorts of different things. Blake found lots of blue and white. My mom has a lot of blue and white Asian-inspired vases in her home, and so he did make sure to take plenty of pictures to send to her, but there were also tons of beautiful rugs and beautiful antique furniture that he saw, and what amazed him was the variety in the store. He also saw, very surprisingly, a lot of samurai suits of armor, a lot of samurai swords that are actual authentic pieces, and he really did consider bringing something like this back for his brother as a souvenir because his brother is fascinated by the samurai era in Japan. But of course, that's not going to fit in a check bag very easily. the variety goes from tens of thousands of dollars in furniture down to odds and ends on tables. Blake said that there were chainsaws that even the guys were saying were broken, but trying to sell anyway. And the thing that Blake had really wanted to look at were typewriters, because Blake loves antique typewriters. And so he was hoping to find some French or European models, but what he discovered is that both in the typewriters and the cash registers that were at this market, they were pretty much all American-made models, which really surprised us. And the more that we learned, we really came to see that apparently American models were actually the prominent models that were used and bought. He also did see a lot of music boxes, like the one that you just saw there, that was a very large music box. And like I said, there were buildings after buildings of antiques, and in some of them were beautiful art installations, as well as various shops. And there were more modern shops catering to movie enthusiasts, like this one here. But there were also plenty of antique, old furniture and old pieces that were there. For dinner, we all went to Chez Francis and really enjoyed just getting to spend time together, enjoy good food, break bread. This was really the only night that we were all in Paris and not exhausted from traveling to Paris. And so this is why we put our group dinner on Saturday night. They had some beautiful looking desserts and tasty food. I will say though that the creme brulee that we had for lunch was probably better than the creme brulee that we had at the restaurant. But because we sat and visited for so long during dinner, we actually did get to see the Eiffel Tower light up. We got to see it do its sparkle show, and that was just a really special time as a group. Then on Sunday, it was Blake's birthday, and so we went to Versailles. I had been to Versailles once before, but had done so by myself. This was the first time that I had someone with me to explore it. And as we walked around, Blake was just constantly in awe of how much and how vast that Versailles was, and how small that the area was that we were seeing compared to the scale of the building. One thing that was different from when I was here 10 years ago is that they actually had the chapel open because they had fully restored it. And the beauty that was in the paintings, that was in the carvings, that was in all the work and the craftsmanship that had gone into this space is something that you see throughout Versailles. But to see it very concentrated in this particular space was something really special and very enjoyable as well. Many of the rooms are also filled with not just the detail of Versailles, but also a lot of the history of where pieces came from, of how they went about the restoration of Versailles and turning it into a museum dedicated to the great accomplishments of France. But no matter how much they tried to explain it, every room that we walked in, Blake was just absolutely in shock at how grand and how massive that this place was. You were seeing the first of the king's bedroom here, and then once we go through the hall of mirrors in a second, you will see the second king's bedroom, followed by the queen's bedroom. Obviously, this is an extremely crowded area to be because the royal apartments and the hall of mirrors are one of the main attractions at Versailles. Blake and I did take a mirror selfie just as a little bit of fun. But once you exit the royal apartments, you will actually have the opportunity to go and eat in Angelina's, which has massive lines in Paris, but here we only had to wait 5 minutes.
Okay, it's quite hot.
Well, then don't burn your mouth trying the cocoa. How is it?
It's thick and strong, smells really good.
Okay.
Very much chocolate. It's a darker cocoa, I like it, it's good. That is thick. It doesn't much flow.
That's a very, very thick chocolate.
And the more you drink it, it's sort of like you're drinking the sediment at the bottom of another hot chocolate the whole time though.
Yeah. It's kind of chalky in my feeling.
Yeah.
Definitely a darker chocolate, hot chocolate. Ended up not being big fans of the Angelina's hot chocolate. We did think that the pastries that we had there were very good, and then we walked out to enjoy strolling through the gardens, which are extremely just beautiful and impressive. And looking at them, they truly look like what they do on the map, and there's so many beautiful plants that you can have so much enjoyable time just getting to smell and enjoy and walk through. It is very sunny, so there really isn't a lot of shade once you get outside, but it is absolutely breathtaking and beautiful. When I explained to Blake that the side garden that we started out with was not the main area that he needed to see and that we needed to walk a little further, he didn't understand until we walked out and saw the vast lake that is also there to enjoy. And then we went to the carriage house. The carriage house sign is open during the summer tourist months on weekends. And they have a lot of Napoleon era carriages as well as the carriages for the couple of kings that came after Napoleon. And they are in the stables. I was very impressed with the vaulted ceilings that they had in the stables. And I definitely think that that would have been a very loud space to be in. They had thousands of people working in the stable at its height during Louis XVI. And then when we got back to Paris, we decided to try another hot chocolate place, which is Carette. And they also have incredible pastries that you are about to see here. This hot chocolate was amazing, as was this pastry. By far my favorite place that we ate and my favorite sort of meal that we had in all of Paris. And you can see Blake putting the whipped cream, which was the perfect consistency to go with the hot chocolate, on my hot chocolate here, as well as then doling it out for himself. He drank a couple of cups of hot chocolate. I was only able to drink one, but it was absolutely delicious, and the pastry was absolutely amazing. This is one of the almond pastries that they have with almond cream and chocolate. This is so good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Absolutely beautiful day in France. And when we got back to the Castile, they had actually dropped off a birthday balloon, present, and card for Blake, which I thought was very kind. On my next upload.